everybody, and welcome to the Business Lounge podcast. I am your host, Jess Cassity, and today we have a special guest. We have Andria. I see I was going to mess it up. We actually talked about this before the show. I have Andria here, who is the owner of Mama Turned Mamapreneur, and I want to give you a little scoop about who she is and what she does. She is a wife, a mom of two, and a visibility strategist for mom business owners. On her podcast that she has, it's called Mom Turned Mamapreneur. She talks about all the things motherhood and business life, everything that we talk about and love, right? Her biggest passion is helping other moms build a business that fits their current season of life. Because let's be honest, life as a mom is ever changing, and finding what aligns with you is key. She takes pride in helping her clients succeed and grow their clientele off of social media through podcasting and collaborations so that they can spend less time on their phones and more time with their littles. So let's get started. Hey, Andria, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing good. Thank you for having me.
Yes, absolutely. We're so excited. So let's just dive right in and get into all of the good stuff. So tell us a little bit about you, how you got started, your background, and what is a visibility specialist?
Yeah, so a little bit about me. Like you said, I am a wife. I'm a mama of two. I have a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old. And I'll start with what it is that I currently do. So I am a visibility strategist, and essentially I support my clients with one, building their authority, getting more eyes on their business, generating leads, but not just any leads, quality leads, people who actually need their services, people who will actually be a good fit for their offers. So I support them with getting in front of more of those people and getting them into their world, but we do it in a way that doesn't require us to show up on social media 24/7. The ways we do it is through collaborations and through podcasting. But my journey didn't start there. I actually started my business back in 2021. I was 12 weeks pregnant with my daughter, and my son was one at the time. So it was an extreme sport starting my business. But I started out as a virtual assistant, doing all of the things, just kind of seeing like what is available, what I could do, what I actually enjoy. And so I tried it all. I did everything from web design to general admin to blog copywriting, literally all of the things. And so I had my daughter April 2022. And leading up to me going into labor with her, I knew I had to shift things in my business. I knew that as a virtual assistant, especially needing to be available during like normal business hours, was not going to work for me transitioning to a mom of two. And so I decided, literally maybe a couple of months before I had her, to niche down into podcast management. So I signed up for this course, literally finished the course probably about a week before I went into labor with her, and set myself up to transition into podcast management. So I had her, and during my maternity leave, I ended up transitioning one of my VA clients over to podcast management, and really just kind of went in that direction, supporting other women, other mom business owners with their podcasts. And one of the things that I really saw with the clients I worked with was that they weren't really having their podcast be a pivotal part of their business. It was kind of like this separate thing that they were doing. And so I essentially made it my mission to really support them with making their podcast part of their visibility and marketing strategy, really creating content that was going to attract their dream clients, but also using that platform to nurture their current audience and kind of essentially funnel them into the specific offers that would be the best fit for them. And so I did that for a bit, and I had a few life changes last year. October last year, my daughter had a seizure unexpectedly. And then my son, he was diagnosed with autism. And so it was just like a lot of life transitions. And so doing full podcast management was no longer realistic for me as far as like that season of life that I was in. And so I needed something that allowed me to be even more available for my family, more present in my kids' lives and supporting them. And so I ended up pivoting into coaching and finally, settled into visibility strategy and supporting my clients that way. And so this year I launched a visibility membership called the Social Media Detox Club and really just been able to support my clients that way. And it's been such an amazing way to support them, but still be the present mom that I want to be, and build my business around the life that I want to live. And so that's essentially kind of been my journey.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Like so packed full of, value, but so eventful and, kind of heavy on the mom heart a little bit too, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that, you are so niched down on who you help and who you resonate with. And I'm sure, a lot of that is based off of, your business, how you got to where you are now. And I really, resonate with, getting off of social media, but still, focusing on your visibility. So I think that I see a lot more people in the online entrepreneur world really trying to grasp the whole getting away from social a little bit more. So I think that this, episode is going to really help a lot of people. So let's talk a little bit about, collaborations, what that looks like, how people can, grow their business, find their right people, their right niche, right? Through these collaborations.
Yeah, so I like to think of collaborations as you're essentially borrowing somebody's already established audience. One of the things with social media is that you have to build that audience, and a lot of times you're doing it on your own. But when you collaborate, say you're, guesting on a podcast like I am, I didn't have to find the people who are listening to this podcast. You've already done all the work for me. I just
You're welcome.
and give value and
Yes.
everything. And so when you're doing things like that or speaking at summits or even participating in bundles,
Yeah.
the audience is being brought to you. Your main focus is one, making sure you're doing the right collaborations that are getting you in front of the right people, but also that you are speaking on the things or sharing the resources that your people need. That's going to resonate with them. That's going to help them to see that you are the person that they need to hire. You are the person who they need to be connected with. And so that is why, like, I absolutely love collaborations, especially as a mom. Like, our time and capacity are limited. And so, for me, trying to show up on Instagram, 7 days a week, showing up in stories, doing
Yeah.
reels, like, it's just not realistic for me. But with collaborations, like, I can choose the date and time. Like, I got to schedule this interview at a time that I knew would work for me when I would have someone watching the kids and I can go off on my own and record this interview. And one of the things I love too, like with podcast guesting, it is evergreen, meaning that even after this episode goes live, people can find it weeks, months, even years after it's live, and I can still generate leads that way without creating new content. So I think the biggest thing is that it makes it easier for you again when you have limited time and capacity and you really want to be intentional in what you're doing in your business. You can partner with other people because it's not just benefiting me, but I'm going to share this episode with my audience and they're going to discover, your podcast and learn more about you and what you do and everything. And so I think it's just that partnership you develop too in growing your network and connecting with other business owners because it can be lonely in the online space. But when you collaborate, you build those relationships while still actively growing your business. So I think that's like the biggest thing from it. And then as far as like getting started, I always say start with your own network. Just let people know what you want to do. You know at least one person who has a podcast.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
reach out to them and say, hey, I would love to be a guest on your podcast. These are the topics that I can speak on. Will this be relevant for your audience? Or even just like looking locally, there's a lot of different local network groups or even virtual ones too. But just start with your network and letting people know what it is that you want to do. And that's going to open you up to opportunities.
Oh my gosh, Andrea, oh my God, I'm like sitting here nodding my head the entire time because I love collaborations, joint ventures. Like it's one of my most favorite things because of every single thing that you've said.
Mhm.
Um, and I think too is like, you mentioned, making sure, like it resonates with somebody else's audience. And that's one of the things is like, from my experience, I've participated in a bunch of bundles, summits, and I've guested on podcasts before. And a lot of times it's funny because like there's a bunch of groups out there that you can join for like find a guest, be a guest, sort of stuff for podcasts. And a lot of the people that are like, reach out are like, do not have an audience that resonates with me at all. Like,
Mhm.
it makes no sense to me. And I think that they're just trying to fill their show because we're like so far off, like it doesn't even make sense at all. But I love it because from my experience, and I think a lot of people, you can tell me if you agree with this or not, but when it comes to social media, you have no control over who from your audience or anybody out there actually sees your stuff, right? Like
Mhm.
you spend so much time making the perfect post on Instagram or Facebook. You have, 5,000 followers and two people see it, right?
Yes.
And what I love about like participating in the bundles and stuff is that you're up here, you're using everybody who is in that bundle,
Mhm.
and when we talk about bundles, everyone, these are things where people usually are providing something from their business of value, like a digital product, a course, or something to download, anything like that. Um, and what happens is it's all of these professionals that get together and they're sharing all of their audiences, which is so amazing. So you're building your email list, which is so much
Mhm.
better than social media platforms, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So that's why I'm like, yes, yes, yes. I love it. I love all of that stuff. And just like you said, you're borrowing these other people's audiences, which is so amazing because you're just doing like what, 1 hour of work, right? And it's lasting forever because like you said, this stuff is so much more evergreen than social media. People are not going through your feed to find stuff that you posted 6 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Unless there's some sort of stalker.
Yes.
Okay, so you were talking about getting started and people should reach out in their network. And I also really, really loved what you said about how, being in the online business world can really be lonely. So the networking, it's really kind of twofold. You're building these collaboration relationships, but you're also building your audience at the same time. Like it doesn't get any better than that.
Yeah, definitely. I will say too, like even just like as a business owner, like say you have a membership or you're running a group program or something, like you could collaborate with your clients. Like you have a network
Yeah.
already right there. Because that's something we do inside of my membership. We collaborate with one another, whether it's doing an email swap or guesting on each other's podcasts and everything. And so yeah, you have people already there that you could collaborate with.
Yes, 100%. Now, for somebody who is new, maybe to, the business world or anything, really doesn't have a lot of other people, what would you recommend or where would you recommend them to start going and building those networking relationships?
Yeah, so I know there's like lots of different Facebook groups geared towards different aspects of business and even like you were saying, like collaborations and stuff like that. And so I would start with Facebook groups, like specifically ones where you know where your ideal clients are hanging out, and you can find different opportunities on there. But if you want to get started with, say, like podcast guesting, there are Facebook groups for that, but you also can just go and search on like Spotify or Apple Podcasts for different podcasts that serve your target audience and pitch yourself. And I would say the main thing with pitching yourself, you need to really demonstrate how you're coming to serve their audience. Don't
Yeah.
make it all about you and how wonderful you are and everything, but really go into it with a servant's heart, looking at, okay, how can I serve this audience? What value can I bring to them? But definitely start with that. And then, like I said, there's lots of different virtual networking groups. You can probably scroll on Facebook and you'll probably scroll past five, six different ones and whatnot. But the opportunities are there. It's just really looking at, okay, where are my people hanging out? What are they doing? Are they listening to podcasts? Are they attending, virtual summits? Are they, signing up for bundles, different things like that, and just like start kind of hanging out where they're at and seeing like if there are other people there who would be a great collaboration partner, and looking at how you guys can support each other. Because that's one thing about collaborations, like 9 times out of 10, if you pitch yourself to someone to collaborate, they're not going to tell you no because it's beneficial for you both.
Yes, and something you mentioned that is really important to hone in a little bit too is like building these relationships with everybody. When you start collaborating with others, it's such an incredible place because a lot of these people who have their own podcast show or are hosting the bundles or participating in any of this stuff can become a client for you or can become an amazing referral partner. So
Mhm.
it's such a, like a wide net to when you start participating in any of these adventures of these collaborations.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and I think like I have met so many like wonderful people by networking with other, creators, other online entrepreneurs, and it's just such an amazing like community.
Yes, yes. You build such great relationships. Like I've made my closest online friends through collaborations and stuff like that. So it's again, yes, it supports in growing your business, but just building those relationships, building those connections. And like you were saying, creating referral partners, because that's happened too, where like you come into my world and I see how amazing you are, what you do. I'm going to send my people your way to work with you.
So, center of visibility strategist. When somebody is participating in a bundle or they're speaking or they're, guesting on a podcast and stuff, you mentioned, coming from a servant heart, providing that value. How can they make sure that they are presenting themselves and their business so that they're kind of like calling in the people, that
Yeah.
will resonate and like because at the end of the day everybody needs to sell their products or their services, so what's the best way to transition from that providing value?
So I always recommend, like, as you are planning, like, say, your signature topics for guesting on a podcast or, planning your topics for a speaking engagement or even like creating your resources for bundles, you want to start with the end in mind. What do you want people ultimately to do after they consume that piece of content? Where do you want them to go? What offer are you trying to funnel them into? And if you like break down your offers, you can pull out main points, main topics that you can turn into, say, a signature topic for a podcast, or even essentially create a micro offer that you can contribute for bundles. So that would be the first thing is that as you are pitching yourself, really making sure the topics that you're pitching yourself on or like the resources you're creating, they connect to your specific offers. And then the other thing I would say is too is just making sure you different stories that you can share. Like this would be more so for like podcast guesting and speaking engagements. But what client stories can you pull in to kind of give people a visual or help them to actually see themselves in your offers, right? Really looking at how you can direct them to those specific offers. Now, no, you're not going to be overly salesy or anything like that, but bringing in those stories, that really helps build a personal connection. People really hook into those stories, and that makes like your podcast interview or your speaking engagement more memorable. And then I would say the other thing is too is outside of bundles, so like with podcast guesting and speaking engagements, how are you getting these people to your email list? So the resource that you promote, whether it's on a podcast interview or during a summit or something like that, it needs to connect to the overall episode topic. So essentially, I like to look at it as, okay, this is a topic that I am educating this audience on. Okay, what resource can I give them that's going to help them actually implement the very thing that I taught them on? Because we want them to take action, right? We don't want them to just consume all this information and not do anything with it. And then you can get them onto your email list. You can nurture them with a welcome sequence and build those relationships, build those connections further. So I would say those would be the biggest things that you want to make sure that you're doing so that way you're not, getting visible but not actually generating leads.
Yeah, absolutely. And, from my experience, like I said, I've participated in several, bundles and giveaways and everything. And sometimes like I mean, I get leads every day or people signing up to my email list every day from bundles that I don't even like, I haven't done them, in a while or something. And they're still, signing up and stuff. And I'm like, oh, like I haven't signed up for one in a while, but they're still, coming in and everything. So it's almost like, people talk about residual income and stuff, but this is like a residual way to build your email list, which is kind of amazing from something you did one time.
Yes, I agree. I actually have a client who she participated in a bundle. It was like the end of July. And by the end of August, she had added almost 400 people to her email list from the bundle. And she only had to create that resource and
Yeah.
she promoted it to her email list. But within a month, oh, almost 400 people added to her email list. Like it doesn't require a lot of you. And the other thing is too, when you have messaging that resonates with your people, you will see a significant number of leads getting added to your email list.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it definitely, it has to make sense that you're participating in the right ones.
Yes.
Because I mean, we have all participated in a bunch of things or offered stuff that has brought people in that do not align with us or,
Hmm.
whatever. And then they end up unsubscribing from your list. And that's fine too, because, everybody can self-discover, what works for them.
Yeah.
And it's okay to clean it up because if they're not going to open your stuff, you don't want them on there anyways.
Hmm.
But to talk a little bit about some advanced strategies and stuff, and obviously, Andrea and I can help you guys, further this down the road, of course. But some of the amazing things too is like we've talked about, participating in these freebie bundles and things like that. Some of the programs though too have like a VIP added addition. So you get like an affiliate link that you can promote. So it's not only just building your email list, and I say just building your email list, but that's like the best part.
Yeah.
But then, of course, there's other ways to get sales as well. Like if you promote that extra resource, the VIP level or whatever it's called, and the one that you're participating in, right? And then, of course, like, and you can talk about this a little bit too, but there are ways to do like upsells and one-time offers and stuff when you throw that into like your thank you page. And obviously, this is a little bit more advanced and stuff, but you want to talk about that for a little bit?
Yeah, so one of the things you'll see as you participate with bundles, you can do tripwires or upsells. And essentially, what it is say someone signs up for your resource, and if it's an upsell, basically you can say, hey, do you want to add on this offer for this fee? So to give an example, I have a resource that I've contributed. It's basically walks you through how to leverage podcast guesting to generate leads. And then for a upsell, I offer my podcast guest tracker, where essentially you can track, the podcast that you've pitched yourself to be on, which ones are yeses, which ones you need to follow up. Like it's a very detailed spreadsheet so you can stay organized as you are guesting on podcasts. But it's like $9. And so people can add that on and they get the free resource, but then they also get this additional resource as an upsell. And then Tripwires, essentially it takes you to a separate page, and either way, whether you do a tripwire or an upsell, the resource needs to connect to the original thing they signed up for. But that's another way to do it too. And you can generate extra income, or as they like to say, passive income that way. So there's a lot of things that you can do when it comes to like bundle collaborations, and even to kind of just touching on like with welcome sequence, you should be pitching people to a specific offer in that welcome sequence. Like they got your free resource, and the goal is for them to get a quick win with that resource. And then as they're going through this welcome sequence, you want to pitch the offer that will be the next step so they can take, what they learn and go further with it and get even more results.
Yes, definitely. Amazing. So, I hope that everybody is really like their wheels are just turning and they're getting excited, because like mine are so excited about this, because I really like, I love it. It really resonates with me as it does you, I know. And, like we just really see, the value in growing your email list, collaborating with others and, guesting on these podcast shows. So, can we, switch gears a little bit, and can you tell us a little bit about, your packages, your services, what you're offering, and how people can, what it looks like to work with you?
Yeah, so as of right now, my main offer is my membership, the Social Media Detox Club. And essentially, this membership supports you with getting visible through collaborations. And so I find all of the collaboration opportunities for you. So podcast guest opportunities, bundle opportunities, speaking engagements, so that entails summits. Also, I find where some membership owners, they're open to have like guest training, so finding opportunities like that. And so we really do it in a strategic and intentional way. So really looking at, okay, what type of collaborations am I participating in? Are these going to support me in hitting my goals? Are these going to support me in getting in front of the right people, the people who actually want and need my services? And then really getting clear on, okay, what should my signature topics be? What type of contribution should I be providing for these bundles? And also diving into, okay, creating these welcome sequences that truly nurture and convert. And like, again, just being strategic and intentional in the things that we're doing. And so, yeah, that's my main offer, my membership.
So within your membership, they can work with you and you help provide all of this stuff.
Yes, yeah, they work with me, and it's not just me, like they get to connect with the other members. We have our Slack community, and one of the things that I love is that it's such a diverse group. You literally have people from all kinds of backgrounds. We have everything from sales strategists to OBMs, web designers, SEO experts, copywriters. And so you're able to get that support and feedback from different experts. So that way you are moving the needle forward in your business. You are attracting your dream clients and doing it without having to show up on socials 24/7.
Yes, girl, preach. Like, get us off on the roller coaster ride, right?
Yeah.
Yes, I love that so much. And like I said, I've seen so many people really, struggling, trying to balance work and life and, trying to do all of the things because a lot of people, they are doing all the things. They're moms, they're, wives, and, they want to spend time doing their hobbies or hang out with their friends or their pets or, whatever it is. People want to have another life than just their business. And it's so easy to get stuck in social media and lost and not, have a clear path forward. And I really think, that someone like you who can really help get somebody off of social media and do the social media detox like you have,
Yeah.
is really helpful and really, a vision that I think a lot of people need in their lives.
Yes, I agree. One of the things I've seen with my members, they have been able to actually enjoy social media again because they've taken that pressure off of using the platform to try to generate leads. They now just really use it to connect with their people. And
Yeah.
so showing up isn't hard anymore. Or if they do go a week or two without posting, they don't feel guilty about it because they know that through these collaborations, they are adding new people to their world and they have systems in place to nurture those relationships and eventually convert them into their offers.
Yes. Oh my gosh, exactly. And it makes life so much easier, right? A little bit better.
Yes.
Okay, so tell everybody, how they can find you, how they can connect with you, and how they can get on your list to stay up to date with everything new and exciting.
Yeah, so you can check out my podcast, Mama Turned Mompreneur. I talk about all things motherhood, entrepreneurship, and building your business off socials. And then I do have a free podcast playlist. It's called the Get Visible Off Socials playlist, and it walks you through like different episodes about, leveraging podcast guesting, collaborations, all of the things. So I will make sure that I send you over that link in case you don't have it, but you can download the playlist and essentially listening to that playlist, you can get started with collaborations immediately.
Oh my gosh, that is amazing. I love it.
Yes.
Well, we'll have all of the links and everything for you to connect and follow along. And if you're ready to get off of social media and do the social media detox and join Andrea in her membership, we'll have all the links for you to do so. So
Yes.
thank you so much for joining me today. It was such a pleasure and so exciting. I really hope that people can see the light at the end of the tunnel and realize they don't have to do all the stuff they hate doing.
Yes. Thank you for having me.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you again. And thank you, everybody else. So please make sure that you subscribe to our podcast show and our YouTube channel, and we will see you next time.